And I've got to tell you, there's no better place to wake up than this amazing place that I'm at, Storms River Mouth. We're in the Tsitsikamma National Park, which is a section of the Garden Route National Park, and we're going to be chatting a little bit about this part of the world because they're celebrating 50 years as a national park. But just to tell you that more than 150,000 hectares of parkland managed by Sam Parks in the Garden Route National Park, 40,500 hectares are indigenous forests. So picturesque is a word that I'm going to use quite a bit in describing this part of the world. But one of the challenges are alien invasive plants, and they're a threat to these indigenous forests. And a program has been put in place to try and counteract some of these challenges. Let's take a look at some of the work that's being done.
The Tsitsikamma National Park covers an 80-kilometre long stretch of coastline and is home to over 200 species of fish, sharks and other marine life. This marine protected area is a biodiversity hotspot, and it provides excellent habitat for reef plants and animals. Where the Storms River meets the ocean, it's a sanctuary for intertidal life, and the Storms River Gorge is well worth exploring.
Waar hy begin, hy so 7 tot 12 meter diep. Hy was so tussen 7 en 12 meter diep in die gorge. Diepste punt bereik so 18 meter. Maar dit sit op 1 punt. Nou die klippe self, die gorge, hulle so ongeveer 160 tot 200 miljoen jaar wat hulle skat wat die ouderdom van die gorge. En die vorm is eintlik so veroorsaak deur tektoniese plaatbeweging. Maar dit was eers horisontaal en toe so opgedruk deur die plaatbeweging wat hom dan meer in 'n vertikale posisie nou in het. Binne die gorge self sal jy so 'n paar seelewe kry, die haie, 7 verskillende soorte haie wat ons hier binne kry, die skamahaie, daskies, die pyjamas, so voort. Okay, hier agter ons, dit is 'n vleermuisgrot. Daar binne sal jy so 3 tot 4000 vleermuise dan kry. En jy kry die insekvretende vleermuise en dan kry jy die vrugte, Egiptiese vrugte vleermuis. En hy kan 'n vlerkman van so ongeveer 'n halwe meter sal jy dan vir hom kry. Kan jy sy vlerkman 'n span en dan kry. En hulle kom maar meestal hier nie aande uit. So na skemer, net so voor dit donker raak, sal hulle uitkom en dan gaan hulle dan uit gaan kos soek vir hulle.
Tsitsikamma National Park, with its incredible diversity of beautiful coastline, forests and fynbos, is a haven for nature lovers. The many hiking trails are especially popular with tourists.
It is beautiful. I mean, the nature is really beautiful, but it's so strange because you have like the sea, but you only see like high green trees. I mean, normally it's like first you have like a big beach or barely like any nature, and here it's like all green. So it's strange, but it's really cool. It's totally different.
We would like to hike up here, and it's so beautiful. We saw a whale and all the trees and the water. It's beautiful.
This rugged coastline in the Southern Cape continues to draw visitors with its natural beauty. It plays a crucial role in the conservation of many lionfish species and needs continued protection. Linky Bierman for Morning Live, Tsitsikamma.
Well, there you go. Lots of work being done in Tsitsikamma, and it's a really, really beautiful place to visit. One of 20 national parks that you'll have access to during the course of this next 5 days. Take use of it, honestly. All you have to do is produce your ID and they'll let you in, and you'll get an opportunity to enjoy the rich heritage that is our national parks. And I've got to tell you, the Garden Route National Park encompasses world-renowned Tsitsikamma, where we are, and that's one of the sections, as well as the wilderness sections, as well as Knysna. And I was driving from George yesterday to come here, and all of these parts are just breathtaking. But it's arguably one of the most beautiful stretches of coastline in the world, and the Tsitsikamma section itself has all sorts of facilities that you're able to enjoy, adventure activities on offer. To tell us a little bit more about that, I'm now joined by Jill Bunding-Venter, who's the General Manager of the Garden Route National Park. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Pleasure, thank you. Morning.
You have the best job in the world. I mean, the Garden Route National Park is probably one of the most beautiful places in the world.
I don't think I can contest that. You know, coming to work every day, I think my staff feel so passionate because it's so beautiful and so tranquil to be here.
All right, so 50 years old. Why is it such an important conservation area?
Well, Peter, the marine protected area, this particular one, is the oldest marine protected area in South Africa. So 50 years ago, 1964, this was declared specifically for protection of certain fish species. And by doing so, 50 years later, we can prove that within our estuary and within our coastline, we have 6 times more fish species than outside of our no-take zones.
All right, so the thing about an area such as this is that it attracts tourists, and I know that adventure tourism is something that's quite important to you, but at the same time we're talking conservation, and I'm just wondering how you balance the two.
Quite difficult at times. Our new slogan is adventure is in our nature. So we want to show people that even though we have adventurous activities, that it's done responsibly according to an environmental management plan. So when we do go into the forest, when we do go into the sea, that we do have plans. But then we work with our concessionaires and we put those plans in place. And yes, and then we do different types, segway through the forest, we slide on treetops, we have different runs through the park, mountain biking, and we want to tell people that adventure is in our nature, meaning that nature is very important to us, but we also want to make it accessible for everyone.
And talking about accessibility for everybody, SAMParks Weeks is about trying to get as many people to experience this for the first and second and third time. Have you seen visitor numbers increase over the years?
Yes, I can happily report that last year, just in the Tsitsikamma section, we had increased by 34% to 170,000 visitors in the park alone. But of course, SAMParks Week, we make extra special in terms of programs and bringing our disadvantaged communities around the park into the park with different environmental education programs.
I often see that for projects such as this to work, you have to have partners that work with you. And I wonder if you have partners that sort of come to the party, conservation and tourism, that work with you.
The Garden Route National Park is managed differently than any other national park. We manage it on a cooperative governance process. So all of our municipalities, 9 municipalities in the area, our district municipalities, our sister organizations in terms of conservation, which is Cape Nature, WESA. We work specifically with them in terms of decision making and taking this park to the next level.
All right, so we're going to have to leave it there, but I've got to say, I've got a feeling that most South Africans are going to be thinking your job is probably one of the best jobs to have in South Africa. That was Jill Bunding-Venter, who's the General Manager of the Garden Route National Park. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, okay, so we're at Tsitsikamma, and I've got to tell you, it's a little bit overcast here today. I thought the sun would be blazing by now, but I guess summer is taking its time to kick in, but it's still a beautiful day. Let's find out